Hello guys, this is Kudo, and today we will continue our mini-series video, and in this video we'll be interesting on the Google sign-in, but this time on the iOS part. So, let's get into it. So before we dive into the code, let me show you a quick diagram I made to tell you how this thing works on iOS. So this is a diagram I made. So it's very similar to the Android part. So basically the first thing we need to do, so the user needs to click on the button. After we will call the C# to be able to call the DLL. And in the wrapper, we will call the Swift part with the good function, basically Google sign-in. The iOS part will display the Google interface. After the user need to choose the Google account, and after that we will get the ID token. The ID token is getting back to Unity. Unity will retrieve the ID token. He will send it back to Firebase, and with this Firebase we will check if the sign-in is complete. So something very similar to the Android part. The only difference is this triangle, so iOS and AAR for Android. So let's head back to Unity and let's dive into some code. So let's go to El Professor Kudo, Firebase asset, in script, Firebase, and let's go on Firebase Google Sign-in iOS. So as you can see, it's very similar to the Firebase Google Sign-in Android. We got the awake start, we got the sign-in function, the on Google sign-in success, the fail, the sign-out success, and the sign-out fail. Here's the difference between the Android part. Here we'll call the DLL internal. So what is the DLL? So let me head back to Unity. And as you can see, in Android part, we use like the plugin. So let's go back to the plugin folder. And here on Android, we got the AAR plugin. That's the AAR plugin. But in the iOS part, so here, if I go to iOS, we got like three kind of plugin, but it's not a real plugin, because if you go on the Finder, we can basically open them, and as you can see, we got the three function. So as you can see, we got the Swift, we got the .mm, and we got the .h. So the .h is similar to C++. You just declare your function. So force linking, sign in, sign out, restore, sign in. So this is the base function we got in the wrapper. So basically, in the bridge. So the sign in, the sign out, the restore sign in, and the force linking. So we got the declaration and we got the coding part in the Swift. So the wrapper is a bridge between the C# and the iOS part. So basically, if I head back to the Fire Google Sign-in iOS, we declare the DLL and we declare here the name of our function. So Google Sign-in iOS _ sign-in. So this is what's the name of it. So basically the C# will call this function. So for example, sign in. So we'll click on sign in. This function will be called via this function, but the Objective-C of this class will call the Swift part. And when the Swift part will be called, we will use again send Unity message. So to be able to send back the Google sign-in or the Google sign-in success or the Google sign-in fail. So as you can see here, so even if it's fail, or even is where is the success? The success is here. And also when the success come, we send back the UEID. This is very important, but we'll head back to this just after. So very similar to the Android part. Again, I will not dive too much into the code. If you want to customize this code, feel free to do it. Again, I'm not an expert in Swift and Objective-C and Xcode in general, but this is just to tell you how this thing works in overview. So now let's head back to Unity and let's go back to El Professor Kudo on the setting and our Android iOS Firebase build setting. So as you can see here, we got for Android the web client ID, but for iOS we need two more things. So the web client ID and the GID client ID. So for that, let's get back to Google Console and let's get this ID. So as you can see here, we got also the web client ID and the iOS client ID. So this one for application web and this one for iOS. So let's copy paste the web client ID. So this is the same for Android. So let's copy paste this. Again, it's in ID authentication 2.0. Let's head back to Unity. Paste it in the web client ID. This is very important. And also the GID client. So let's head back to Google Console. And let's copy the iOS client ID, this one from iOS. So let's copy it and let's put it in the GID client. So now this is a tricky part. So as you can see, we got different parameters for iOS rather than Android. So as you can see, we got iOS, Firebase, Xcode build. So we got allow inject Firebase in it, allow overwrite Podfile, allow apply, blah, 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 a lot of stuff. So first thing, what is a Podfile? So basically, a Podfile is a dependency manager for iOS and macOS. Basically, here we will use like Cocoa Pod to add Firebase dependency on our iOS project. It's simple as that. So I will not go through this explanation, but you will need to have Cocoa Pod install on your macOS, and you will also need to have Ruby installed to your Mac. So for me, I use a 3.4.4 version of Ruby, so I will not go through this process. There are plenty of tutorials on how you can add Cocoa Pod and Ruby on your macOS. Let me tell you what the Podfile I create. So to do that, let's go on El Professor Kudo and let's go on resources. And as you can see, we got a shell script, but we'll go through this after, and we got the Podfile. So let me open it, and as you can see, the Podfile installs some dependency. So we got the Firebase dependency, so Firestore, database, core, authentication, analytic, installation, and also the Google Sign-In dependency. I add also this bit of code because I got some issue with Xcode. You may try to remove it. Maybe it will work for you, but that was not my case for me. Also, if you watch this tutorial maybe in 2030, make sure to update the Firebase, the number here. So right now I'm using one of the latest Firebase version and also one of the latest Google Sign-In version. I hope this will work for you, because when we head back to Unity, as you can see, we got allow overwrite Podfile. So if you don't want to override your Podfile, it will be generated by Unity, uncheck this functionality. But if you check this functionality, it will be override with this Podfile. But if you want to write your custom Podfile, feel free to rewrite it as you wish. Also, here we got allow apply Xcode project setting. So what I did, so basically I got some issue because when I launched the first time my application on iOS, I was able to sign in into my Google account. But when I kill the app and I try to automatically relog myself, the application crashed because I find some script was called before checking if Firebase was ready. And before Firebase was not ready, he tried to call some Firebase stuff and he made the application crash. So this is why I overwrite some code on the Xcode project. And we got these two, so I need to rename it because I made a mistake here. So this is allowed to generate not pod install script, but shell install script. So basically, I make like a shell script. So let me show you. So this shell script allows you to run the Podfile and also clean everything, because sometimes I got some issue. If you not clean the project at least the first time, they got some issue and they got some library conflict. So this one clean everything and reinstall all the dependency from scratch. So it's useful to at least run it for the first time when you generate your project, but you don't need to run it every time. So now let's try to build. So as you can see, everything is executing automatically. We don't need to do anything, but keep in mind, you will need to have Cocoa Pod installed. So as you can see here, we got the iOS folder created, and inside this folder, we got our Podfile. We got also the run Podfile install, we just run automatically. And also we got like the Xcode Pro. So basically this is what we use to handle the Xcode project. But this time we need to open the xworkspace. So let's open this. And if we go to Unity iPhone and we open this, you will see in our library, El Professor Kudo asset, plugin, iOS, and we will retrieve 3 function will work. So now we can test it basically. So as you can see, the application is running on my device. So let's try to log in with using Google Sign In. So let me check Sign In Google UI. So sign in Google. So it will ask me if I want to register. So let's open it. Let's select my account. So this one, the simple request. Okay, let's continue. And as you can see, we're able to log with iOS. So let me kill the app. Okay. Let's try to reopen it. So Unity Firebase, this one. And as you can see, he was able to log me back. So let's try the edit. So test new data from iOS. Let's say OK. Let's save the data. And let's load the data. And as you can see, we got test new data from iOS. Okay guys, so that's it for this mini-series. I hope you enjoy it and you will be able to use this toolkit I made. Maybe I will come back with other authentication such as Facebook, Apple, or other third part, but I don't know if I got time to deal with it. But if you like this content and if you enjoy it, please subscribe, comment, thumb up, it will be very nice. Also, if you want, you can still buy me coffee. It will be very nice if you can support me, because again, it takes me a long time to do it. And I hope this will help the community, because I know Firebase, especially with iOS, it's not that easy. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye bye.